Welcome to the JD Bunkis podcast. Let's get into it. 2 hours of Canada talk today. Ray Ferraro, Kris Versteeg, and of course I got to get on McKee, because there's definitely some Marner talk aujourd'hui. That was not a fun game. Like normally you just go after a win like that, it's a quarterfinal win, overtime win, you could make the case, you go, wow, what a game. No. That was a roller coaster ride. And it was a roller coaster ride where the vast majority of the game, it was the worst part of the roller coaster. It was like that slow tick up where you're regretting all of your decisions. And that's how I felt watching most of that game. I really was sitting there watching Canada lose for what was, again, the majority of the hockey game. And I kept having the same thought over and over in my head, which was, man, I hate that I love sports so much. This is what you sign up for. Is I waited, not 4 years, God, I waited 12 years to see Canada again on best, and that I was going to have another haunting memory. And, you know, you play weird games with yourself as a sports fan where you're like, this is somehow my fault. This is their fault. This is this person's fault. You're just mad. And I was so mad. I was a psycho watching that game. Truly. Embarrassing for an adult man to be sitting there acting the way that I was. Just sour the entire time. And it got to the point where once Czechia took the lead, 3-2, and time started to wind down and it started to feel more and more desperate, like I put my jacket on and I stopped watching on a big screen and I went by myself to a cafeteria here at the office and watched on my phone with headphones on by myself. Thank you, Nick Suzuki, for making me look like a big old idiot. Thank you, Mitch Marner, for making every Leaf fan who said you can't do it in the big moments look like a big old idiot. It was amazing. Listen, I care about Canada winning at hockey more than I think I care about anything else. Like, I've said this basically over and over the last couple of weeks, but this is supposed to be our game. It's materially different than when you watch the Canadians be at the Olympics in basketball now. It's great. We're a great up-and-coming story. It's about trying to capitalize on the moment for that team. The World Baseball Classic's coming up. I can't wait to watch Canada play at the World Baseball Classic. It's going to be awesome. All of a sudden, we're rooting for Josh Naylor. Go on down the line. Like what? It's nice having NFL Canadian-born players, right? Go around the league, you find the odd guy, and you say, hey, that's really cool. That's a cool story. There's nothing like Hockey Canada. This is our game. It's the one that we are the standard bearers. It's beautiful to be the favorites. It's beautiful to be the one that the rest of the world chases. That when they step out on the ice and they're wearing the red and white and black, and God, I really don't like these red sweaters. I like the white ones. They're better than I anticipated, but yeah, I'm glad that they're not wearing the black ones. Either way, when they step out with that sweater, it means something different. It's like, hey, these are the baddies. These are the ones that you chase. This is the man who knocks. I love that. It's different. It makes me feel something that I don't when I'm watching the other sports. Like, I want the other teams to win. I'm rooting desperately for Canada to medal in these other events whenever I catch them. But with hockey, it comes with something different, like a national pride that is just tied into most of us. So watching that, you're sick. You're sick to your stomach. Your emotions are riding high. You're living and dying with every single shift, every single play. And so this idea that, like, Nick Suzuki scored and I was tweeting about how he shouldn't have, or maybe he was the guy that should have gotten pulled from the lineup. I certainly thought that when he missed the open net, and they've shown Sam Bennett sitting there as Radko Gudas is running around. Yeah. I said a million things about Mitch Marner not being able to come up big moments. He came up in a big moment. It was awesome. I didn't have 1 second where I went, oh, no, not these guys. That's part of sports, too, is like you're wrong all the time. You're just wrong. I was wrong. Dead wrong. Nick Suzuki. What a play. Not just the tip was incredible. Like, great tip. Huge goal. Loved seeing his reaction afterwards. Like, you could just see the relief wash over these guys. And in fact, like, Suzuki, probably his next shift, when he tried to do that wraparound goal, he's like feeling himself and he has a big smile on his face. And I went, hey, lock back in. Lock back in. But it was so nice to see a player who went from having a moment where it's a wide open cage where he has to bury it to being the country's hero. Awesome. Awesome moment for him. But to me, the real thing that mattered almost more than the goal, like, you can't say it mattered more because that's putting the puck in the net. That's why we're here. But end of the shift, just deciding that he's going to get a puck in deep, Canadian way, pucks in deep, following it up on the forecheck, making a play, knowing that it was desperate moments in the hockey game, and then creating an opportunity where Canada could set up, fire one towards the net, and where he finishes it. Awesome. Awesome stuff, man. And there's so many things from this game, and like, I've got Versteeg online, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but all I'm going to say is this about Marner. Same thing. Great for him. Then there ends up being this, like, social media stuff where everybody's exploding about Leaf fans. And I see Mark Stone gives a quote. He's like, I've seen him have big moments for us at Four Nations and now here, and I think that's a Toronto thing. And I saw a lot of Leaf fans, and I know McKee was doing this, and I know Borney was talking about it, where they're like, the world loves making things about the Leafs. I'm like, yeah, I think that's true. But in this situation, it's fair. The Leafs didn't keep this guy. And yeah, he walked and the Leafs tried to resign him, whatever you want to say. Most Toronto fans, or many Toronto fans, whatever it is, they did not want Mitch Marner to come back. I was one of them. I thought it was time for a change. I would have preferred that it got done when he had, real trade value rather than flipping him for Nick Roy, as it was in the 11th hour and you knew he was gone either way. But Marner had a million opportunities here to come up in the clutch. And the conversation around Mitch Marner was not, hey, could he be the 9th most important player on a team and give you a big moment? No. With the Toronto Maple Leafs, it was, could you be one of the big 3 guys and show up in the moments? And he never delivered on that. So congrats to Mitch Marner. Truly, like, I didn't have one moment where I was like, oh, no, not me. Like, I know McKee and I joked about it, but it was, you think I wanted Canada not to win at the expense of, like, feelings of animus towards Mitch Marner? Absolutely not. I didn't even, like, that didn't even register for me. All I was doing was celebrating, hugging people in the newsroom, going, I can't believe it, Mitch, Mitch. That's it. That's the only feeling. But this is not this is not apples and oranges, or this is apples and oranges when it comes to, like, a guy proving he can do it in the big moment. It's like, yeah, you were asked to do it as one of the big 3 on your team. It didn't materialize. After playoff series after playoff series after playoff series after playoff series. And the idea that you were, like, somewhat giving up on it because of all you had seen is crazy. He's on Team Canada. It's the best forward group ever assembled, although you may have not known it yesterday when it felt like it was only one line for the vast majority of the hockey game. But yeah, I have no doubts that Mitch Marner is an extremely talented hockey player who could score a goal like that 3-on-3, especially when he is slotted on a team where he's not one of the faces of it. He's not one of the most important guys. Also, these refs, that's got to be it for them. That 6-on-5 goal where there's actually even a screenshot where there's 8 guys on the ice and you see 6 guys celebrating it. The players have taken the high road. They're saying that they missed it and whatever. It's no big deal. Stuff happens, is what Drew Doughty said. I don't care. Your job is not to be a player. Like, I understand the players missing it. You're the officials. There's 6 players on the ice in a huge moment of the hockey game. They're blocking shots and they're firing down the ice, and there's tons of them. For none of you to be able to pick up on that, I think it's inexcusable. The IOC is obviously going to roll those guys back, but it was an embarrassing job by those officials. Truly, truly awful. Could have cost the country massively. And yeah, also I think Radko Gudas should be arrested for war crimes, because what he did in that hockey game was deplorable, and you hurt Sidney Crosby. I don't think he should be allowed to step back on Canadian soil without, the RCMP waiting outside of the plane, ready to put him in cuffs. Kris Versteeg, 2-time Stanley Cup champion and creator of the Klevr app. He joins me now. What's up, buddy? How are we doing?
Did something happen yesterday?
My heart,
I'm reeling.
my heart rate was so high during the game.
Yeah.
So I go home and I need to get a workout in, and I got an Apple Watch. And so I'm looking at it, and it's showing me that, like, I've already done exercise today. And I was like, I haven't done any exercise. And I looked at it. It was like my heart rate spiked so much, and I was doing so much pacing during that game that it logged it as 32 minutes of exercise.
Yeah, my palms were sweating.
Ugh.
Like, I've never really felt that way before watching. It was a pretty cool moment to be a fan. You know what the coolest moment though is when my kids came home after school and I'm telling them about the game, and then
Yeah.
they're like, "Yeah, we watched."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, all our teachers turned on the game at school.
Mhm.
We watched the game."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn. All right, that's Canadian
That
hockey
is
right there."
Canadian hockey. They
Right?
probably had a better screen than what you and I had growing up, where you
Yeah.
had to go to, like,
They
the
roll it out.
library, yeah, and everybody sit in the library together, and you have basically no look at the television, but, yeah, that's still cool. I am glad
I
that
had a teacher that would roll out the TV and
yeah,
he'd leave for the hour and he'd come back and he'd have grass on his socks.
yeah.
I think
That's tough. That's a tough look. But, yeah, I do wanna start with this, like, man, the plays by Suzuki and Marner, like, truly massive, massive moments for this team. I really do hate that it's 3-on-3 in overtime, even though
yeah.
it worked out for Canada. Just, give me 10 minutes of 5-on-5. If you're gonna do penalties anyway, give me, like, what the sport is supposed to be. The 3-on-3 thing does diminish it just a touch. Like, I felt as though if you were gonna turn the game into that, especially the way that Canada's built, it actually gives Canada a pretty huge advantage. If I was the Czechs, I would be pretty pissed off. But I do wanna start with the Suzuki play because I texted you after he missed that open net, like, a lot of things about Nick Suzuki and a lot of things about Sam Bennett. But I want to know from like a player standpoint and what you saw in that of a guy who has a moment like that, and especially when you're trailing, to be feeling the weight of like, oh my God, this is my fault. And
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, and still being able to overcome that, make the play that he did, and then score that goal.
For me, it was the board play,
Yeah.
right? End of the shift, getting it to the blue line, waiting for his guys to change, chips it past the guy, takes a hit, right?
Yep.
He's on no gas at this moment too. Like he's giving everything he's got, gets the puck, kind of he takes a hit, gets it out to the point, and then goes to the net. It was just for me, the tip was incredible, but it was the will
Hmm.
on that boards to do it with no gas left in the tank, take a hit, get the puck in the zone, and then obviously get to the net for a goal. And I'm sure if that didn't go in the net, he was trying to drag himself off the ice because he had nothing left to give. But it was actually pretty cool when they opened the door and he jumped out the door too. But
Yeah.
for me, it was just the willingness to stick with it. And like you said, it was the Canadian way. Just get the puck in when you got nothing left and give everything you got. And that encapsulated everything, that goal.
So with the Marner side of things, all I can think of is because again, he makes a nice play 3-on-3. I thought that the Czechs almost got enamored by him. Like all
Yeah.
three guys, like the defenders and the goaltender were like, he's gonna pass, right? Like at some point he's gonna pass, and he just didn't, and they all just kind of froze, and everyone sort of got just like stuck in between deciding what they were gonna do with him on that play. It's a spectacular play, he deserves all the credit. But from a Canada standpoint, I thought, man, the way that they were talking about him, like Mark Stone after, who's his teammate in the NHL, but when they're like, the pressure with Mitch, and maybe that's a Toronto thing, I thought, this is a way for a team that is the clear favorites in this tournament to actually turn it into like, oh, you doubted us, right? Like if you're on Team Canada, you don't ever get to play the you doubted us card, right? But Marner scoring that goal is perfect for them because they get to say that. They get to be like, oh, here's a guy that nobody believed in, and he came up in the big moment. And I like that they're going to try to use that against everybody.
Oh, big time. The adversity piece for me is the biggest piece.
Definitely.
Having to fight through. Well, first off, it's hard to beat a team two times in a tournament. I heard Craig Button talking the other day. He's like, they're going to smoke them and all this. Teams make adjustments,
Mhm.
right? It is hard, number one. So the adversity to beat a very good hockey team, probably the most physical hockey game they're going to play. I know the States can be physical, but to me, that was uber physical. And then you have a guy like Mitch Marner step up in overtime and score. So I just think everything that they went through, the guys that finished it off, the depth guys getting involved, people like myself doubting them throughout the game. When they
Mhm.
scored 7 minutes left, I'm like, or was it seven around? The
Yeah,
7 minute
when the
mark?
Czechs took the lead, yeah, I felt like it was over.
It was over.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, this is done. We're done. We can't even get sustained ozone time right now. We completely threw out what we were doing in the second period with regrouping and coming with speed and went back to just throwing it and trying to chip it in, and they had five guys back. I was like, we're not even getting it in their zone. How are we going to do this? And then obviously Suzuki scores, and it is an unfair advantage for us 3-on-3. when you can roll out those guys 3-on-3, even when you can go McKinnon and back to Marner, who's a
Yep.
specialist at it. I do like 5-on-5, like you said. I wish it was a 10-minute thing, especially in the playoff rounds. But for me, when you're talking about Mitch Marner scoring and then the Suzuki and the adversity they came through after losing their captain to a dirtbag hit, it was an incredible moment for that hockey team. And as a viewer, like I said, I've never felt like that.
Yeah, no, it was an exhilarating feeling when they won the game. This huge just sense of relief,
Yeah.
but also the realization of like, oh yeah, that was the quarters.
But it was bottled up since World Juniors.
Yeah. Yes.
Every media member, what's wrong with Canadian hockey? Are the Canadians no good anymore? Is the world catch? Of course the world's
Are you
catching.
just doing a me impression?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
this is just everyone. Everyone I listen to. And
I
I
would do it.
get that the World Juniors, if the World Junior players were in this game, they would have got ran out of the rink, the physicality. But those pros took a lick every shift. Brandon Hagel took a forearm shiver from Radko Gudas to the back of the head, where he should have been kicked out of the game, Radko Gudas, for that hit. And he kept trucking, didn't back off, kept going to hard areas. Every single guy went to hard areas. They did it, they just kept sticking with it and sticking with it. So I think it was just the buildup of, us getting our lunch handed to us in the World Juniors. We're thinking, like, is the Czechs our new, like, nemesis? And then when they score 7 minutes left, it's like, it is.
Yeah.
And then you're getting ready to ask all these questions again about Canadian hockey when, you can ask stylistically about what they're being taught growing up and what the right way to play the game is. But at the end of the day, Canada puts out a ton of players, and those players on the ice went to war yesterday. They went to war for this country.
Yeah, you're right that because this is the show I did yesterday in terms of, to me, this is the most pressure that's been on the Canadians outside of 2010. Because like 2010, you got to win on home soil, right? Like what a disappointment it would have been for everybody, the entire Vancouver games. Like that was a real where were you moment for everybody that is in this country. But I think this one's number 2. Like Salt Lake was hey, we got the mantle back, like get back the choke. Make sure you don't do it twice in a row. That was huge too. But the things that you're saying, I think a lot of people are feeling. And for me personally, what I would say is based on the way that the world is catching up, the way that, I was talking to Myrtle about this yesterday, how U.S. registration way through the roof, that there's a lot of projection models that show more Americans in the NHL at some point, like in the next 10 years, which is crazy to think about because this has been a game that's dominated by us. A little bit of a sense of urgency of being able to capitalize on the moment when Canada still does look to be the dominant team. And so a choke here would have been crushing. I think that it probably wouldn't have gone to the development aspects because you're right, these guys are pros. That's where it's different than the World Juniors. But the conversation about like the world catching up and whether or not Canada is going to be the team rather than in the group of teams, that absolutely would have been there. So it's a huge win. The whole adversity thing, I actually downplayed that. I went, listen, they're proven. Like, because this whole thing was like, hey, Canada hasn't been tested yet. They still are a little unproven in this tournament because they've rolled everybody. I went, well, that's what you're supposed to do against teams is like roll them. That's proven it. What is it better if they're playing in these round robin games and winning them 3-1 or 3-2 and you're nervous every single game? Like, no, they were dominant. So they kind of proved it. And yet when that game finished and the fact that they had that adversity and they did look so tight in that third period, there is a sense for me now that moving forward, this is actually going to unlock things for them. And that feeling that pressure and having that near-death experience for this team is now going to open up the play a little bit more against the Finns.
Well, and the I guess thought of losing Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
Like what does that do to the team morale of the greatest player, one of the greatest players ever, getting cheap shotted and he's quite possibly done for the tournament. We don't know how he is or where he is. How does this bring the group together? Like you said, it was a near-death experience for this team, man. They lost their heart and soul. They were down with 7 minutes left. Like there was a lot of adversity. And like you said, they've also proven that when the whole team's trucking, can they be stopped? Right? There's a couple things stylistically with the game I didn't like about how their D were playing and things like that, maybe some line combos. But overall, what they had to go through to get here, the adversity, and then even the previous games, like Switzerland's not a bad team. Swiss is a good team, and they rolled them. They made them look pretty pretty basic. But again, you kind of go back to they played Czechs game one, and now they got to play them in the quarters again 5 days later, 6 days later. That's a hard thing to do. It is hard to beat the same team twice, and a very good team that generally, again, will make tweaks and understandings of what they got to do it. And they're going to play better than the first time they did. So that adversity in itself of beating a very good team twice, which is a hard thing to do in a short tournament, should bode well for them going forward.
Yeah, and like I want to get to Sid and then the Gudis in a second,
Yeah.
but I just can't help but feel like for those guys, they feel the pressure in a moment like that. And that's the
100%.
one thing that they didn't have in that round robin, and that you can't really replicate in the round robin because no one even gets eliminated. But to be in that spot and feel like you were so close to losing, and man, they look tight. Like no one can tell me otherwise. When they were trailing in that game in that third period, I thought that they looked extremely tight. Like, oh my
They
God.
went from way too loose to tight.
Yes.
Started the game with they're just so casual with pucks. They thought they were in a shinny game similar to the round robin, like Mark Stone throwing that puck away cross ice, and then he threw 2 pucks away. Guys kind of hoping passes, and the Czechs were, they were loaded for bear, man. Like they were ready to go. And then they went from so casual to being down, and that's where you felt it went almost like too casual to uber tight, right? It was like you saw two teams within the same game, and then you saw the adversity hit and that team grab it and come forward. But it was the casualness, I think, at the start of the game that allowed them to play that tight and not get into a rhythm.
Yeah, just I was thinking back to how when they were in the Four Nations tournament, right? How they were like, we felt like we were going to win because you looked around the room and there's so many guys that play with confidence. And you hear that story, especially when it goes back to 2010, because the lore around that is the game gets tied by the Americans late. They're heading into this highly packed pressure overtime. And the stories that emanated from it, like I got to talk to Niedermeyer. He's like, yeah, guys were feeling pretty sick about it, but there was a confidence within the group that they were still going to be able to get things done. A lot of those guys had been there before and played in those big games. This Olympics, like you remove Sidney Crosby from the equation when you're down in that hockey game. You only had Drew Doughty, who's been in the Olympics before. You have guys who played in Four Nations. You have guys who played in cups and who have been in those obviously massive moments. But in terms of the resumes of international play, not the same. Like, not the same. So I do feel as though them coming that close and having to play that tight is now a real opportunity for them. And then coming through and actually getting it done has to be great for the belief of the team that it's like, okay, we're not going to tighten up like that the next time it happens, because we know that eventually we can crack through and we can make something happen.
Well, and it's been 12 years. Like these guys, you got to think about these European clubs too. A lot of these guys do go back world championships and play. Some of the Canadians started to in the last probably half decade. So even when you get on a team with a group of guys where maybe some of them played World Juniors together, but they haven't really played together.
Yeah.
They haven't been around each other consistently. It'd be probably similar to the Americans, not compared to the European teams who are constantly around each other, outside of maybe Sweden. But when you're on a new team, you're also finding your role within that new team around guys you've never really played with before outside of Four Nations. So who's going to be the guys that step up? Who's going to be the guys you look to for leadership in the locker room? They've never played together really in 12 years, I know, besides the Four Nations. So though I think that piece in of itself of just getting to understand, okay, we can rely on a lot of guys in this locker room. We know we can put certain guys out to take key face-offs. I mean, think about Suzuki taking face-offs because McKinnon couldn't win a draw all night. Suzuki had to take, I think, 4 or 5 key D-zone face-offs against Camp, who was eating their lunch in the dot, right? So finding out other guys can do big things in big moments was a big piece of this team too.
So the Sid hit. He leaves, and just like your guts fall out. You're sick to, like, the second he was hunched over on the bench, I was like, yeah, man, like Sid's not a faker. He's not someone who's going to overdo the injury. And then you see him limp to the locker room, and you're like, okay, he's done for this game. There's just no way that he's going to come back. We're going to get an update on him today. And Cooper's like very adamant right now. Like they're waiting and they're waiting. I saw the Twitter doctors doing their thing, and it's like, yeah, well, let's just wait and we'll see. But it is pretty difficult for me to imagine that a guy who took a hit like that is going to be able to jump into the lineup and play Friday night. I hope I'm wrong. But what did you think of the hit itself? Because to me, it looks like Gudas is going pretty high on the number one guy in the league that you wouldn't hit high.
First off, the thing that pissed me off about Cooper was Radko Gudas coming over there after and hamming it up. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if you're the head coach and that happens to your captain, I don't care if he's played for you before. Tell him to kick rocks, you know? The thing with Radko Gudas is, and I have personal experience, he wrecked my leg, right? And prior to wrecking my leg, he probably almost chopped off my hand. I had my hand in a scrum, and he stomped my glove. If it was 2 inches higher, I might not have a damn hand. You know what I mean? And then he blew out my knee, and he blew out multiple guys' knees that year. And the way he goes into these contacts is whether a guy's dragging a leg or like, let's take the Sidney Crosby hit in of itself. He goes high. He's going high on Sid. Sid kind of slips, goes down. Radko doesn't have to fall on him. He's Bambied. Like Sid's Bambied. So he's going down. When he falls on him, he knows what he's doing. He ain't stupid. Radko's a smart guy. He knows how to hurt. He knows how to hit to hurt. He knows how to act like he doesn't know what he's doing. And he's done it. I bet you if you put a ticker of all the guys' knees he's wrecked or elbows to the head or guys he's given concussion, it would be pretty high. And on all of them, he'd be like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. And that's the same play on Crosby. Crosby's getting the puck. Radko goes high. Sid obviously has to duck, and he slips a bit. It's when Sid goes down, though, when he falls on top of him and he's Bambied, every guy knows you're falling on a guy who's Bambied. You're going to tear his groin. You're going to hurt his knee. You can pop his hip out. So for me, that was a problem, that one. And then Kevin Rooney, who should not be allowed to ref right now in this game, he allows him to forearm shiver Brandon Hagel to the back of the head. And he gets 2 minutes, smashes the back of his head in there. And then prior to the goal, Radko Gudas goes to hip check, and he completely trips up. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Suzuki or somebody coming down the right wall. He goes to hip check, puck goes in, and he just low blows a guy, completely low blows him, and there's no call. It's like he goes into stuff so recklessly with malice intent, but then tries to make it look like it's accidental contact or accidental circumstance. And for me, that's the problem I have. I'm sure he's a great guy. I hate him.
I'm not sure he's a great guy.
Like off the ice. I'm saying, I don't know, but I hate him. Like I hate the guy, right? He wrecked my leg, and that's my personal thought on him. Because when you go into situations, you know how to hurt. Now, if it's a one-off, if he's done it one time, I wouldn't feel bad. I would be like, okay, maybe it was an accident. But I mean, he tore 4 guys' ACLs that year. Right? The way he leads with his front leg to legs, the way he goes into the Sidney Crosby hit, right? You go high, you fall on a guy who's Bambied. To me, there's an intent to injure that just keeps getting allowed to get away with, which is crazy. And now, because the NHL hasn't really stopped it, the best player in the game gets hurt because of it.
Mm-hmm. God, I'm sick about it. Like, I hope for a miracle with Sidney Crosby because these games don't feel the same. Like, honestly, the win won't feel... I want it. Everybody does. But to not have Sidney Crosby out there playing in a gold medal game, if it's against the United States, like, yeah, it's going to be.
Think about the NHL who allowed their players to go over.
Yeah.
And they allowed an NHL ref on the ice. First off, calls the worst interference call ever on Celebrini. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, especially considering they missed one where Sid gets hit without the puck.
Without the puck. Yeah. Panic just rocks him without the puck. So he calls the worst call on an icing that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Right? And then he allows other stuff to get there. And he can see Gudas' building throughout the game, taking runs at Hagel constantly, taking runs at certain guys constantly. And this is just in the first 10 minutes of the game. And then the Sid thing happens, and then the Hagel thing happens, and it just keeps building. And you have an NHL ref on the ice allowing it to get to the point where NHL players are there representing their countries getting hurt. Is that good for business?
No, I said they shouldn't allow that crew to officiate another game. Like, period. No. To have the stuff that you're talking about, to miss the 6-on-5, which
it's
is
8-on-5.
Yeah.
At one point.
I for sure at one point there were 8, which is crazy because you see the trail official and he's
Yeah, but
behind.
it's 6-on-5 in the zone.
Yeah, but in the zone deep where they're blocking a shot and they're breaking it out. And it's like, are you guys there to just be like getting free tickets to be fans? Like you just watching the players and enjoying yourselves? Like your job is to know that there's 6 guys out on the ice for the other team. And I've seen like, again, the players kind of backing up going like stuff happens. Hey, we missed it too. It's like, yeah, you're playing. You're locked in trying to create a scoring opportunity. You're not supposed to be the officials counting the guys that are coming over the ice.
A quick question for me on this.
Yeah.
We're going to find out what kind of GM Kyle Dubas is right now.
How so?
I'm telling you, I'd be searching the Federal League right now, finding someone when we play Anaheim in Pittsburgh.
Do they play still this year? Do we know?
I don't know.
Yeah. But I thought the same thing with Tom Wilson, where I was like, I wonder if he is going to keep score on this. And
I hope they keep score.
Me too. That it's like you next time you play each other, he's going to be like, hey, do you remember the Olympics? Because I do. And you guys tried to bait me all game long. You wanted it. You wanted me to take. Yeah, Ducks and Pens played twice already. My producers just put it out there, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah, you're right. When it comes to even next year, you got to be doing that. There's got to be some guy that you've never heard of before that all of a sudden is playing for the Pittsburgh.
You know who I'm bringing in? That Grinon, the guy who got suspended in France. I'm flying him over to Pens camp tomorrow.
I can't let a French guy handle business for me. Like, there's just no way against Radko Gudas. I think he's eating his lunch. That big French guy, like, credit to him that he pulled down Tom Wilson right away. But I think that what pissed Tom Wilson off so much is like he was kind of going 50% and the other guy went 100% on him and dropped him. And like, if the officials would have gotten out of the way after that, if they would have just said, hey, this is going to be like, let him get back up and let him fight, I think we'd be talking about a dead French guy at the Olympics because Tom Wilson would have, absolutely eviscerated him. You know who agrees with the officiating? The coach of the Czechs. Did you see this quote?
No.
Quote, the refs really worry me. What they're allowing against us is unacceptable. After every game, we send them 2 or 3 clips where they confirm that the opponent should have been penalized, and I understand it. I just don't get it. I feel like everyone is afraid to call anything against Canada. We were basically playing against 6 players, end quote. Can you believe the audacity of this guy to say it was basically 6 players when they scored their go-ahead goal?
And here's the psychological piece to it, right? You have an NHL ref on the ice, and I'm sure he's scared to call penalties against Team Canada, right? Like there could be a favoritism there. I believe he's American, but I mean, there's always a psychological piece to it. But the Czechs got to be out of their minds insane to think with all the interference they did all game. There was no free ice interference, hitting guys without the puck, guys not getting kicked out of the game. And for even the Kempney call was light. Like, that shouldn't have been a call on McKinnon.
That's why I didn't feel as bad about the interference. I was like, Canada got a power play goal on that one, and that was a soft play, and they got a power play goal on the.
But there should have been 10 other calls throughout the game on the Czechs. Like, especially in that second period where they were pushing and guys were getting lit up and tripped. And, like, you're telling me you have an onslaught of 15 to 20 shots to none, and you're not drawing anything out of there? So it was, I mean, to each their own. They're going to stick up for their countries. The Czechs played hard. You got to give it to them. They did everything inside the rules, what the refs allowed to get the job done almost. But I agree on the sense of, like, you're watching it. They're supposed to be calling penalties. Like, I've watched some women's games too. Like, they're not calling much. It's jail yard rules out there.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they're not calling much today because I really do.
I hope. Yeah, same.
Well, it's like that's our only hope.
They got to play physical today.
Yeah, I know.
They got to lay bodies and frustrate the U.S.
Because if it's an open game, like their speed, I don't think Canada can match it. Like they're deeper, they're faster, they're more skilled.
Sweden played them physical and they got frustrated.
Yeah.
And the refs allowed it. And that was the 5-1 game of Sweden and the U.S. Canada has to take a page from Sweden's book in this one.
God, yeah, no, this one is like, this adds to what we're talking about with the men's team though. It's like you watched the women play the Americans and it felt like, they've won 7 in a row.
Well, they were beating them in all those series too, right? Like pretty handily.
That's what I mean. So in terms of it being like Canada's game, if you had an Olympics where you would have lost to the Czechs in the quarters And if the doomsday scenario happens today, where it's like it's a cakewalk for the Americans against Canada, and you add those World Junior things, it's like, God, it would have been a 5-alarm fire, man. Okay, two more things. One is just, man, how does Binnington just have it in these moments? Because I think he's a little lost in, like, it's like the Marner thing, the Suzuki thing, this loss to Sid, the Hayden Gudis, the officiating, the 6-on-5, and Binnington makes this save on Nichas on a breakaway in that game. He makes a bunch of huge stops late. He made a bunch of big stops actually early too, where they're down 2-1, and the feeling I had when it was 2-1 was next goal is going to win. Like, you can't go down 3-1 to this team with the way that their goaltender's playing, and the fact that Canada just they couldn't get 4 lines going. They couldn't get 2 lines going. It was just one. It was waiting for the mega line to come over the boards and feel like, you guys got to save us because no one else is going to do it. But, man, Binnington just like to be this guy, and I know the Blues team is crappy and but like an 860 save, and then to enter this tournament, and it's like, you're just the guy. I don't know. I don't even know what to compare it to.
It's a mindset, I've played with a lot of players. I'd like to think even myself a little bit, not to this degree or anything, but I've played with a lot of players that when the game gets bigger or the moment gets bigger, you just know how to bring a little bit more out. And he's to an extreme circumstance of who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I think we talked about this prior when we were talking about starting Binnington, and I talked about a guy like Brian Bickle. You wouldn't see this guy all year, and it gets to playoffs and he's locked in, right? And you can see it on Binnington, and I can see it. I think it was in the first game where he got decked. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of got decked, and you thought he was going to lose his cool, and he kind of just brushed it off. Where if that's St. Louis, blockers off, everything's hitting the fan. You know what I mean? That just tells me he knows how to lock in when the games are the biggest, and he's relied upon the most. And for a guy like that to do what he does in the biggest moments, kind of like Grant Fuhr-esque, Like, he lets in the odd bad one. Even the panic goal, he was kind of off his angle. But then when it came down to it, he makes the saves in overtime. He makes the saves on Natchez on the breakaway. He makes those, like, he still plays the puck really well under pressure in big moments too. That's
I will say though, when he gets a little horned up going to play the puck sometimes,
shouldn't
I'm like,
be doing it too much.
Yeah.
I get a little worried.
Yeah,
I get a little worried. But the fact that he's confident enough, like, could you tell me that Thompson could come out of the net in like third period and just tick her back to the D, rim it up the wall? Would you have, you know what I mean? He's doing that in big moments, and that kind of settles the team down too, I think. When you're watching your goaltender having confidence to make plays, even though, like you said, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, what? Please just, like, Martin, get back in the net right now. But for me, this guy just encapsulates everything what it is to be a hockey player playing in a big moment. And I've known a lot of guys that have done it. I've known a lot of guys that are players and goaltenders. Niemi was another guy I played with. They can do it. But to do it for Jordan Binnington, not only in the NHL in the biggest moment, but for your country, it's something to study almost.
Man,
it almost needs to be studied.
The way that I think about it though is, so like you mentioned, like the Bickles or guys like yourself, and like being able to elevate in those moments and lock in those moments. If you guys lose a cup, right, with Chicago, Brian Bickle and Kris Versteeg aren't getting blamed.
No, but there's none. So that's exactly it. That's what I'm saying. This is like a micro.
Yeah, but for him, he lets in one bad goal in that game. Like, he lets one in that's even like a shade questionable to lose that game. And he is murdered by everybody. It's like, what, Canada, we knew the goaltending was going to be the Achilles heel, and they went with this whole idea of intangibles and his mental state instead of going with the guy that was better all season long, that you had a track record of. Like, and I know he's obviously done this incredible job of locking it out, and we've got those clips of him going like, do I look worried, right? And he really doesn't, and you believe it. But it's like the Suzuki thing that I mentioned, where it's like you missed an open net. And the more impressive thing is that you were the guy that ended up finding a way when you knew you were going to be wearing the goat horns. Every time that Binnington is between those posts for Canada, everything about like your Stanley Cup, everything about you winning at Four Nations, you let in one bad goal and all of that is out the window. And it's like, there was a mistake to bring you. That is an insane amount of pressure to deal with.
Hey, when I kind of brought up myself or Beckler, we are pigeons.
Yeah, I know that's not what you're doing.
I'm just kind of saying, like, there's a mindset that's like
Yeah.
certain players love to play in the big game more. And I've met Binnington before, and I know people that know him, and he's a unique person, right?
Hmm.
Like he's got a self-confidence and a self-belief in himself that drives him. He loves to prove people wrong. He's an incredibly athletic goaltender, right? Where kind of a lot of goalies now, even in the kids, it's always just about blocking, but he still relies on his athleticism and his instincts. And when his confidence is high, his athleticism and instincts help him.
Hmm.
So he's just a guy that he's I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore of guys that you can't believe in, that you should believe in. Like you said, one goal, the country goes under.
Yeah.
It's like what's going on here? And for him to do it, it's remarkable. Now we got to get two more done here.
Hmm.
But like you said, you can't waver your belief until it starts to falter right now.
I think that for them as a team, though, they have to feel an incredible amount of confidence in him that he's going to be able to come up and make those big saves. Like if they
Big
do make a
time.
mistake, if something does happen, that they've got a guy that they can rely upon rather than feeling that extra tense, like that tense feeling of, ooh, we can't even let anything go on our net because we're worried that this guy is going to be making a mistake or that he's going to end up burying us. So yeah, huge moment for Binnington. I hope he does like post career. He scams everyone into thinking like what he has you can teach. That he ends
10x talk,
yeah,
10x talks.
like
I'm gonna 10x you.
exactly. He's going to go around countries trying to teach people about how to lock in and how to get your best
Yeah.
version of yourself in big moments. And people are going to be sitting there scribbling down notes. And then they're
Him
going to
and
show,
Tony Robbins are gonna be together on.
yeah, but then those people are just going to go on and choke because it's like what he has, you can't teach. You can't give it to somebody in a seminar. But I'll go to the seminar.
I'm going.
Yeah, I'll pay the $200 to go see Jordan Binnington on a stage, tell me how to lock in, and then leave it and feel like I got something out of it. Like, absolutely, I would. Last thing, do you go with the super line in the next game? No?
No chance. I think the biggest piece. Well, again, it's McKinnon's hurt or something's going on.
Yeah,
You
it
can
seems
tell.
like he's not 100%. He did have that one moment where he made that like one
Yeah.
individual play at the end of the first period where I was like, oh, maybe he is fine. But yeah, and like he scored a goal. But yeah, it doesn't seem like the full Nathan McKinnon experience.
We're not getting the full experience, but he still can drive a line at the middle
Yeah.
better than anyone else in the lineup can. So I think what you got to do is you got to get McKinnon back on a line. You got to load him up with whoever he's comfortable with, whether it is now Marner and Stone or whoever it has to be. I know Suzuki played really well with them. Depends where you put Bennett in the lineup. I think you got to save Nuclear for after the first period. See how the first period goes with McKinnon in the 2-hole. See if they can drive line and offense against secondary guys on the Finnish team. But for me, the problem was when we were so loaded up. If Sid was in the lineup, I have no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
But with Sid out of the lineup, I think you got to try to get him going in the middle on his own line and then hold Nuclear option for halfway through the second period, depending where you're at, third period. But that's how I would start it, just because, man, when that Reinhart line came on, I was so nervous. Reinhart's not generally a centerman, nothing against him. You know, maybe give McKinnon Reinhart on the wing. He hasn't been getting a lot of opportunity up the lineup. I'd like to see maybe a Reinhart with him get a little more opportunity, but I think you got to split them up just to start.
So
I think you go Nuclear too. It shows a little panic.
There's definitely a little element of that. And I like the Nuclear just because McKinnon hasn't been driving his own line. Now, listen, if Sidney Crosby's out, which I'm going to assume he is, right? Like, great. If a miracle happens and this pod ends up being, irrelevant in an hour, I'll take that any day of the week. But to me, one of the things that was noticeable is, one, Suzuki is better playing up the middle than he is on the wing. Like him playing on he got bumped down to the fourth line basically as soon as that game started because they're just like, oh, this isn't really working for him. He looks out of place. When he's able to play in the middle of the ice, he's clearly a more impactful guy. So you're slotting him in where Sidney Crosby was between Mark Stone and Mitch Marner, and you're saying, like, give us something. Hopefully that line is good. If you're doing...
Here's a little thought, though, on the thing. Would you put Macklin with McKinnon and then let Connor drive his own line with with a Stone and Marner?
No.
You got to keep them together.
Macklin Celebrini has the most goals in a tournament. Connor McDavid has the most points. And the two of those guys have been unreal together. That is the dead last thing that I'm considering. Like, there's not even a moment where I'm going, like, break these guys up. They're playing together.
I'm kind of thinking, like, they are the two top guys right now.
No question.
and you can keep them together, but do you try something to see if Connor can drive a line in a big game against a tough matchup? And if not, you go back to that right away.
I just think
But
it's the devil, and I'm sticking
yes,
with that. There's two things though. One is, listen, I was a big defender of Tom Wilson being on this team, and I think that he had some good moments early in this tournament in terms of setting the tone for Canada and the way that they wanted to play. But yeah, I don't love him out there on the top line, especially when McDavid and Celebrini need to eat the most minutes. So there becomes a point where you're like, well, I kind of need my best three guys all playing together when they're getting the double shifted thing. I like Suzuki more in the middle, so I already went over that one. But if you're going to leave McKinnon as that second line center who you're asking to drive, and now Suzuki's removed from his line, right, because he's going down the middle, I'd actually like to see Bennett, Hagel, and McKinnon and just go with the dogs.
I would rather have Bennett run a fourth and Horvat go up. I think Horvat's been playing great.
Yeah.
He's managing pucks well. He can play wing. He can score. I agree. Like, I don't mind that. I think Hagel to go down to the fourth would be something good with a Wilson, maybe. But for me, I think we got to start elevating Horvat maybe a little bit too.
Yeah.
He's dangerous, man. He's getting a lot of zone time for limited action.
Yeah.
I think he could be an option to go up now that you have Bennett come in, you have McKinnon and Suzuki in the middle.
Now you're a little, I would be a little afraid, which is crazy to say against the Finns, but that you'd have potentially a line that was like Reinhart, Marchand, and Wilson.
I'd go Marchand, Bennett, Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Just the ultimate rat line, fourth line. That's what I'd look at doing, but.
Yeah,
and then kind of let them and Stone and Marner and Suzuki to fight it out for ice time. Upgrade Horvat to McKinnon, right? Hagel maybe.
You're going to be taking Sid off the power play, so that's already a spot where like you got to figure it out without him.
Celebrini, right?
Yeah, but are you doing it now where you would consider taking Reinhart off that unit too?
I think I did like the move they made. Like, Celebrini is a bit like a Sid, right? You could tell he was a little hesitant when he first got out there on the PP, what to do and how to move, but then he started to figure it out pretty quick. He's a left option too that drags guys low. He can make plays from below the goal line. I would have loved to see him take it to the net instead of go through the legs on the one. But for me, like, I think you got to keep that unit the same. And then what you do is just have McDavid play 2 minutes on half on the other unit.
Yeah. I hope this works the same way that it did with Suzuki, because I was like, I don't know if Suzuki should be in the lineup, and he scores one of the biggest goals of my life. So I'm going to say the same thing about Sam Reinhart, where I'm like, hey, man, you've been a ghost. Like, it's time for you to do something. If like I'm
They're
going.
not getting him going 5-on-5. Like, and he's playing center in a big game. It's like, I think he needs to be elevated with a guy that, like, I would love to see Reinhart, Horvat, McKinnon. You know, just something where you got a guy who can facilitate, a guy that can bang, hold plays in, and then you got McKinnon in the middle, and then you go with your all rat line, fourth line.
Yeah, I just think at this moment in time, and again, I'm hoping that this works as a curse, Reinhart and Sanheim have been the two guys for me where I'm like, you got to do something. Like, and Parayko, I don't think has been great shakes either. But so I'd throw him, I guess, into the mix of that. But it's like, one of you three guys, you got to do something for me, because it ain't it so far from you three. Everybody else at least is able to point to something from this tournament. Those three, I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not sure what they're able to be like. This is what I'm hanging my hat on so far.
Yeah, the way they built the team, it's just they just wanted the defensive mind of a Sanheim and a Parayko. There were so many times with Parayko where McDavid would loop back, and you could even hear Mike Johnson yell, "Give him the puck." Give him the puck, and that's really not what he's there to do, right? It's not the build of what they want with in their depth D. So you're probably not going to get more than just, hard defensive, hard-nosed players.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully I'm talking to you after Canada wins a gold medal next week. Kris Versteeg, creator of the Klevr app, 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Thanks for making time, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
See you, pal. All right, quick break. And Kevin Durant spoke on the burners. He did it. Next.
Ontario is getting you where you need to be faster by building the Ontario line. Learn more at ontario.ca/Ontario builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Call 1-877-CARS for kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now and get a maximum tax credit.
Donate your car today.
This is the sound of a Toyota Tundra hauling a custom, fully furnished ice hut out to the lake. And this is the sound of a Tundra hauling home some store-bought frozen cod when the lake didn't deliver. Two extremes, one Tundra with serious towing capacity. Now's the time to get yours. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2026 Tundra Crewmax SRTRD off-road from $173 weekly for 36 months at 4.79% with $5,800 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your Ontario Toyota dealer today.
A serious car accident can turn your life upside down, but a team of trusted legal and medical experts can get it back on track. I'm David Himmelfarb, HimPro's managing partner. Let our team of highly rated injury lawyers build you a winning case fast to deliver a big settlement. This proven system for success is the HimPro Advantage, and it's real. Call 833-4HIMPRO or visit himpro.ca today. HimPro, serious results for serious injuries fast.
HimPro.
Hey parents, it's Ontario teachers. We need to talk about some concerning behavior. Disruptions in class, bad choices, even bullying. No, it's not your kid. It's Doug Ford. By cutting $3,000 per student in education funding, he's created big problems in schools, taking away the supports that students need and leaving them stuck in overcrowded classes. The problem in schools? It's Doug Ford. A message from the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario.
Tune in to The Raptor Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to noon. Brought to you by McDonald's Raptor Chicken Nacho Poutine. Made with 100% Canadian-raised seasoned chicken, nacho cheese sauce, and tortilla strips. Available for a limited time.
Relive the revolutionary music of the Fab Four at the Music of the Beatles with your Toronto Symphony Orchestra on March 4th and 5th at Roy Thompson Hall. Hear Ticket to Ride, Penny Lane, and more. Book now at tso.ca.
Ontario is making your commute easier by improving the Milton Go line to two-way all-day service. Learn more at ontario.ca/Ontario Builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
Dial in your game this winter with Golf Town's state-of-the-art simulator bays. Powered by industry-leading Foresight sports technology. Enjoy tour-level precision the pros trust. Or play a virtual round on a world-famous golf course for just $24.99 for a 55-minute session at any Golf Town location. Renting their simulators can help take your game to the next level, whether you're a beginner or seasoned golfer. Book your tee time in-store or online at golftown.com. Come in and play at Golf Town this winter.
With Remitly, you can send money to family, friends, or yourself worldwide. And it's guaranteed to get there when promised.
Like where?
Oh, England, India, Italy, France, U.S., Kenya.
Huh. Where can't I send money with Remitly?
The moon?
Oh.
You have family on the moon?
Not yet.
Fast, secure, guaranteed, and loved by millions. Remitly. Transfers arrive on time or refund issued for applicable transfer fee.
The Infiniti QX50 is the fastest growing compact luxury SUV sold. At 268 horsepower, the QX50 is designed to turn heads and stay ahead of the moment. Switch up to the Infiniti QX50 Pure for $249. Lease semi-monthly at 0% for up to 39 months with $49.95 down and up to $3,000 bonus cash. Experience Infiniti at the Toronto Auto Show. Conditions apply. Available at participating Ontario retailers. Fastest growing compact luxury SUV sold based on Desrosiers segmentation comparing total sales for 2024 and 2025.
Sunwing here, asking the big question. Did your Valentine's Day surprise have them wondering if you love them or love them not? Sunwing's Valentine's Day savings on romantic getaways with ultra-romantic perks are still here to help you turn things around. Because where better to apologize than on the beach at sunset, right? Get moving on your redemption. Book by February 22nd with your local travel advisor or...
Get up to $75 in points at Shoppers Drug Mart. Starting tomorrow, open your app, spin the wheel of deals to get a points offer. Conditions in-app.
Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
So, if you've been living under a rock, there was a big social media story that has gone beyond social media now over NBA All-Star Week, which was people claiming Kevin Durant had posted more messages under a burner account. This is someone who has already admitted to having burners, someone who's terminally online. I enjoyed his Twitter account. I like the fact that he will willingly go back at people and defend himself. I'm like, that's fine. That's fun. This guy's having a good time. It's what he wants to do. Cool. I'm not going to yuck your yum. But these reported burners were talking about his former and current teammates, which really changed the math on, hey, this is a burner about somebody from the past. Like, nah, him talking about Alperen Şengün, him talking about Parker. Like, there was, this is a pretty uncomfortable situation for him. Again, multiple former teammates and current teammates. And I was of the belief, like, hey, some of these messages sort of look like the same, and there's a few things here where I'm going, could he really be this obtuse to think like these would all be kept private? Especially if they're with people he doesn't have in his circle. Like, I'm of the belief of most people don't want to have private exchanges shared online. You've all got a group chat, a friend, or whatever. You shoot it in a text, you joke around, it gets posted out of context, and you're like, oof, that's a horrible look for me. But this is a little different because the accusation is like this is a burner account where he was just doing it with mostly strangers or at best acquaintances. He finally speaks to the media. They ask him a question about it, and he responds with, I'm not going to get into Twitter nonsense. Oof. You might as well have just said you did it, that's you. There's nothing short of a firm denial from a guy like Kevin Durant that would have worked because, and listen, maybe he just wants the story to go away and that if he denies it, that those people are going to feel more emboldened to try and prove it. But Kevin Durant, like I said, is the number one athlete on Twitter. No one is out there in a professional league that tweets more than KD, that replies to fans, that searches his name, and that has embraced that part of him publicly since he got busted with the burners in the first place. Like, he's like, I love Twitter. I'm in the Twitter game. Whenever people are like, get offline, he's like, no, I love it. So for him now to turn it into like Twitter is nonsense, it's like, yeah, man, that works if you're Mitch Marner and you're just like trying to get rid of your social media. If you're Austin Matthews and people are like, yeah, I don't think this guy's like ever on his socials. It's tougher look when you're Kevin Durant to just be like, this is Twitter nonsense. You got to firmly deny. And by not doing that, it makes me feel like this is like borderline confirmed. And that, I mentioned this to Ennis. Maybe this doesn't become the big story that I thought it was going to be because we're too distracted. He's already been busted with burners. People are like, they expect this of him. Like, it would have been way different if it was like Steph Curry, right? You're like, whoa, this is totally out of left field. So maybe it's not as big, but I can't imagine the way that he spoke about his teammates with people not affecting that room in a serious way. And the Rockets don't look good right now. And if they get bounced in the postseason, they get bounced early after making an all-in move to get Kevin Durant, and it turns out to be a total backfire. I just don't know how this isn't one of the things that we mentioned at the very beginning of his resume, his Wikipedia page. Like, yeah, Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers I've ever seen. Unbelievable career. But if this is real and it looks more and more like it is, I think you can kind of unequivocally say potentially one of the worst teammates of all time as well across any sport. Quick break, Ray Ferraro next.
Experience casino like never before at Bet365.
Join the action and play all your favorite games. You can win daily with their exclusive game Prize Matcher. Check out their awesome table games and face off against a real live dealer. And play unique games that you simply can't get anywhere else.
Download the app, play casino, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca. T&Cs apply.
This year is about feeling stronger, sharper, and more in control. With more than 10 locations across the Toronto area, Game Day Men's Health helps men boost energy, enhance performance, and recover faster. With testosterone optimization, peptide therapy, medical weight loss, and proven performance treatments. No long wait times, no referrals, just care designed around your goals. When life demands you at your best, every day is game day. Book your free consult at GameDayMen'sHealth.ca.
Here's to the inspiration, the dreams, the passion, and dedication. To all our Canadian athletes, you've made us proud, and we're with you all the way. Access Storage, official storage partner of Team Canada.
Why BDC for my business? The timing's right. Everything's in motion. Economy's changing. It's all about automation, AI. So I said to myself, take the plunge. Yes, I need a loan, but I also need a hand from a partner who's truly working with me, helping me no matter what comes next. Not later, now.
Get ready for what's next. With BDC, you get financing and advice adapted to your projects. Discover how at bdc.ca/financing. BDC, financing, advising, know-how.
The Canadian International Auto Show, presented by the Toronto Star, is back. More exotics, more classics.
It's the total automotive experience. Marvel at the McLaren W1 and classic masterpieces such as the 1955 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing.
Then get behind the wheel at the Outdoor Test Drive program.
Auto Show is all about winning. Enter for a chance to win the new 2026 Crosstrek Hybrid Compact SUV. Everything drivers love about the Crosstrek, plus even more fuel efficiency and lower emissions.
Want to follow the sun? Enter and you can win an all-inclusive 7-day vacation for 2 to Mexico from sunbook.ca.
The journey begins at the Auto Show and the choice is yours.
2 adults, 2 kids. Save up to 15% when you buy online. It's the family admission ticket.
Adults save $8 after 5 p.m. The 2026 Canadian International Auto Show, presented by the Toronto Star. On now until February 22nd, Metro Toronto Convention Center, autoshow.ca for tickets.
Toronto, get ready to ride. The Motorcycle and Power Sports Shows Showroom 2026, powered by NFP, takes over the Undercare Center at Exhibition Place, February 20th to 22nd. Feel the freedom as the industry's biggest brands reveal what's next. From Honda, Yamaha, Harley-Davidson, Triumph, CF Moto, Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, and more. More power, more passion, all in one place. Secure your tickets now at motocanada.com/shows and be part of Showroom 2026.
Did you know the plasma in your blood is used to create medications that boost the immune system of people fighting cancer? Advancements in clinical care have led to new life-saving uses for plasma, and with that, a new need for donors. Canada needs more blood and plasma donors than ever before, because we're saving more lives than ever before.
Help Canada reach 1 million new donors by 2030. Book an appointment today at blood.ca/plasma and experience what you get when you give. Canadian Blood Services. Who's saving who?
Seeker.
If you haven't downloaded the Seeker app yet, what are you waiting for?
SEEKR. Seeker.
Seeker now works with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Take your favorite stations, podcasts, and playlists on the road right from your dashboard. It's seamless, safe, and built for wherever you're headed. Plus, push notifications are here. Get alerts for new content, contests, and updates from the shows and stations you love. Seeker. Your audio, your way. Download it now.
Stream the stars of the NHL, NBA, MLB, and more. It's all here. Subscribe today at sportsnetplus.ca.
CJCL Toronto.
"18 seasons in the NHL and now analyst at ESPN, one of the best. And a guy we've never had on the show. I'm very excited to get to talk to him. Ray Ferraro joins me now. What's up, Ray? How we doing, man?
I'm 3 hours behind you, so I'm just waking up, man. No, all good, all good. Everything's good. Had a nice little break here, and like yesterday, or like everybody yesterday, I think JD, man, just watching some amazing hockey. That was awesome yesterday.
3 games going to overtime. Like just all these stressed out fans, and you just woke up. But when did you go to sleep? Like when did your heart rate normalize?
Well, I mean, I figured Canada, like they felt like they were cooked late, you know, like it just like it didn't seem like there was a breakdown coming, and then all of a sudden Suzuki makes a great play, and then it gets to overtime, and like I don't watch many games like a fan anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like I just go do the game. I hope they're good games. I really hope it doesn't go to overtime. And then, you know, we move on to the next game. Yesterday's different. I mean, I'm watching it with my son Landon, and like we're actually cheering, which is so different for me. Like it was so fun to do. And it was probably more fun because Canada won, right? But it was like, and then you just go to the next game, and well, that was the same, and although it wasn't Canada. And then it was the next game, and it was like, man, it took a while to think like that's not That's not normal. That's not like a normal day of hockey. That's what, when we say best on best, I think we talk about Canada is what we're really wanting to see, but this is what we hope happens. It's like the games are unpredictable, and they're, a team that you don't think can compete with a better team or a better country. They find a way to do it. And like, look at what Slovakia has done. Look at, the way Canada blew the Czechs out of the water 7 days ago. And then now they're hanging on for dear life. I mean, tournament hockey's the best. It is. I get lucky. I did about 20 of these international tournaments, and every year there was another story that you just didn't expect to happen.
Yeah, so I'm totally with you. Like, I had Kris Versteeg on before you this morning, and he mentioned that's the hardest game he's ever had to watch. Like, that is just impossible. Pain. Like, I felt so much pain watching that game, like when Canada went down 3-2, that like I'm here in the newsroom and I had to put my jacket on and go into the cafeteria and watch the rest of the game by myself on my phone because I was just full breakdown, emotional, just not good enough, or just not happy enough about it. But I love what you said about the best on best.
To jump in, when's the last time you felt like that? Like,
no,
like you can't even, for me, it was 2010.
Yep,
I
same.
was, I was watching that game. I was sitting in an empty seat next to Chris Cuthbert and watching him, like I'm staying out of the way and watching him, he's checking his notes, he's doing his thing, something would happen. He, it goes to overtime. I'm nervous as heck. And he's told this story a million times, but he went to the bathroom and that's when it occurred to him, like, man, this is a golden goal. This is like, his brain just working overtime and everybody watching. We're all doing the same. Like, who's he going to put out on the night? We're all coaches now, right?
Yeah.
We're all, whether John Cooper's won a Stanley Cup or not, it's really irrelevant in that point. I'm coaching the team my way, right? and I'm just hoping like hell that the right result comes out of it.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the last time you felt like this was 2010 because my position the last week has been, I actually feel as though this is the most pressure that's been on Canada outside of 2010. Like, yes, 2002 was huge. And 2014, it almost felt like it was not a cakewalk for Canada. They had the Latvia game, but it really did feel like nobody was going to score on them. They had this unbelievable blue line. But there's been this, like, the world is catching up. The Americans are catching up. You saw the way that the Czechs have played. We've seen these results at the World Juniors. And why it has felt like there's more pressure for me is that it's like, hey, is it still Canada's game? Like, are they still the standard bearer of this sport? And the fear in that game was you lose to the Czechs in the quarterfinals. And then potentially, the Americans go on and you don't even get a chance to respond to the best team that they've ever iced. And it was like a devastating feeling, like a sick feeling. And yeah, I'm curious if you feel the same way, like where you would stack the pressure of this moment compared to other Olympics.
Well, 3 days ago or 2 days ago, people are, I see polls all over the internet. Is this the best Canadian team ever?
Yeah.
And then, you're like, whoops, maybe not.
Yeah, I
right?
did that show.
Yeah, right. And it's like it happened so fast because it's almost back to, now you would be way too young for this, but like the 1980 game when the US won, and there's that great speech, 9 out of 10 times the Soviet Union wins, but not tonight. And that's what the tournament stuff, that's why it's so great.
Yeah.
Is because if your goalie gets out of the gate good, if you're the underdog, if you get to the halfway point of the game and you haven't really, you haven't been separated from the game yet. Now on the underdog, there's no pressure. The Czechs would have felt the pressure of wanting to win. The Canadians would have felt the pressure of not wanting to lose because of the enormous expectation. And I do feel it's heavier always on the favorites. There's a couple times, like I did, a dozen or so World Junior tournaments. And when the tournament games were in Canada, like when the tournaments were in Canada, it just felt different. Like you could feel it on the players. I could see it on the coaches, and I'm talking to those guys every day. And when you're overseas, you're removed just one step, right? You don't feel it everywhere you walk. Like, these players, like if the tournament's at home, if they're walking around a little bit. They feel the pressure from everybody else. Hey, good luck tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow. It doesn't happen the same way when you're overseas. And I would say the pressure that they feel it's real. It's real early in the game, and it's real right when you realize the game's not going away. So if you think of it like the first 5 minutes of the game till everybody can get in a shift and kind of like exhale that extra energy, that's the first point. The second point is like late second period when, it's 2-2.
Yeah.
Like the game, this is a game. It's not going anywhere. And then you can imagine when Palat scores and it's 3-2 and, right then you're looking, there's no Crosby, McKinnon's not where he health-wise would like to be. And you're looking for, like, does anybody have a play here? Like, does somebody have one moment, one play? And it turned out it was Nick Suzuki. And I also found it interesting that, that line that scores and, Seth Jarvis is on the ice. He's the last player added to the team. And in the course of a tournament, there's always an unexpected contribution somewhere. Maybe that was the one for Canada because it's certainly not over. That's for sure.
God, it was massive. And no, it isn't over. And that's actually like the crazy part of projecting forward now is you're like, oh my God, we got 2 more potentially stress tests like this that are going to, really, you're going to find out how healthy your heart is if you're watching 2 more of these games, and especially if it's one against the Americans. But I was pretty dismissive of the theory that Canada hadn't been tested in this tournament after the round robin. I just went like, listen, you can only play who's in front of you. And they dismantled those teams. They looked excellent.
Right.
Like, what were they supposed to do? Have a game where it was 3-2 and they were trailing in it and you would have felt better about the team? Like, we measure teams based on, like, hey, if you're really good, do you beat up on the team that you're supposed to beat? That's the sign that something is positive. So, but when I'm watching this game and now that we're out of it, and as soon as Marner scored that goal, I think the first thing I said was, now we're going to roll. Because it did change a bit of a feeling in me, like, okay, now they've had to feel that pressure a little differently. Now they've had to basically face their death in this tournament, and then they came out on the other side of it. I'm curious how you feel after, a game where they are down, they're trailing. It does feel like it's over. It felt like it was either McDavid or bust. It's a different name that comes through, and they face that adversity now, how that might help them for the rest of this tournament.
Well, I think where it really helps is that you saw some people elevated into positions in the lineup where they had to play more than maybe they were counted upon, and they were able to come through on that on that afternoon, and so that's the real positive for me. I'm looking at this though, and I see a little bit of similarity to the Four Nations last year, but in reverse, right? So you've got the U.S. last year, they didn't have Quinn Hughes, and if people don't know about Quinn Hughes, maybe they're getting a better look about him. I live in Vancouver and I've seen him for 7 years, and the guy's a magician, right? Like that overtime shift, they're making a little bit of a deal about how long he was on the ice.
Like
I've seen Quinn do that. Yeah, but I've seen Quinn do that for 5 years. Yeah. It's like he has a bottomless pit of VO2 max in his body. It's like he'll get to the bench and literally just like sit down. It's like all the air is out of his body. He's just exhausted. And then they need him again. Boom, he goes right back out. So he's a difference maker. The Americans didn't have him last year. They didn't have Charlie McAvoy last year. Crosby's obviously going to be a day-to-day, game-to-game thing. And if he does come back, he's compromised, right? He's injured. It was pretty clear where, he's got some kind of knee issue, and hopefully it's not anything that keeps him out of the rest of the tournament. I think they really miss Josh Morrissey.
Yeah.
And where they're really going to miss Morrissey is he's played such a simple game, but he's really agile on his feet. So he's able to escape pressure a little bit. He makes a good first pass. And as you get to the Finns here, and then if you're lucky enough to win, you get to the Americans, you're going to need that escape out of the zone. And they don't have it quite so much when he's not there. It's easy to nitpick the roster. That's where this is a place I thought Matthew Schaefer belonged on this team. I was thinking more of McCarr if McCarr goes down, but now with Morrissey, you can see where they're not as efficient with the puck back there. Now it looks like he's going to play, and that would be a big boost for them. As far as dealing with the adversity, you're 100% right. This is the team in front of you. If you lose, say they had lost one of those preliminary games, would we all have been talking about, oh, that's great, they faced some adversity? No. We'd say, no, they should have picked this guy. This guy didn't play well. The goalie didn't do this. Like, it would have been 100 different things. They're in the point they're at. The Finns are consistently a pain in the ass in tournaments. They just They just are. And they punch way above their weight. But I think the no Barkov is, we kind of forget, I think, because he's missed the whole year, like how good he is and how valuable he is. I don't see that the Finns can overcome that loss.
Yeah, especially in a matchup where they could use him against Canada's top line, right? That McDavid line, which has just been buzzing. And I mentioned how part of the reason why I felt like Canada was going to lose yesterday and that they weren't going to be able to come back is that after Crosby went down, they had lost the only other line that seemed to have an identity in this tournament, which was like Crosby, Stone, and Marner, who were giving you consistent shifts and were consistently great. All of a sudden, McKinnon's up on the top line. They're doing the nuclear option. Of course, that works. But the rest of the lineup didn't feel like – the second period, I will say that it did feel as though they were kind of just dominating it, and it was shift after shift after shift. But the third, it was like, when can McDavid get back out? When can that line go back on the ice and try to provide them with a spark? You mentioned it. McKinnon doesn't quite look himself. It looks a little off. He's been grabbing at his knee a touch. I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor. But does that make you think, you know what, maybe I am starting next game with McKinnon on the top line, even losing Crosby, that I don't want to have him be the carrier. I don't want to have him drive the line. This is what's working so far. It hasn't worked on his own line through 4 games. So just start it this way.
I do. But I think we all, well, a lot of people get all tied up in this is the first line, this is the second line, this is the way they're starting the game. One of the things, I've done over the last little bit here, 5-6 years, I've done a lot of Tampa games because they've been really great. And one thing you see with John Cooper is he's got a great feel, like an in-game feel of that's not working. I'm going to move this player to that line. The only thing that really stays together for them in Tampa all the time is Point and Kucherov. And then after that, it's like, Hagel moves around a little bit and they move Nick Paul up and down the lineup. And I think you're going to see a little bit of that for the rest of the tournament. And some of it will be health predicated. Some of it will be, and maybe Nick Suzuki can handle his own line and be a dangerous line. If you go back to the Canadians last year in the playoffs, man, Suzuki gave Washington fits in the first round. He's a good player. And maybe a regular shift in a regular place will help him. And I think we're going to see that. Maybe it's a chance for, can Bo Horvat grab a little bit more and play a little, with a little bit more impact. These are things that you would never see if the team was healthy or if the lines were stacked in the way that they envisioned, because this is not what they envisioned. Right. No. And so you get to a point where you're like, I can't count on 4 lines depending on the game. You can count on 4 lines if you want a game or a shift over shift grindy type of game. But when you need somebody, to give you the best chance to score, you're going to go to those 3 guys. I mean, they've been the most dangerous line. Celebrini's been just fabulous with McDavid. And the crazy part is, who would have thought, like, man, I can't take Celebrini away from McDavid. Like, before the tournament, I would have thought, Mac would have been an option in the middle of the ice too. That's where he plays. But I'm not, you're not going to get him away from McDavid's hip right now. I mean,
that's the number one certainty of your lineup.
Right. But so now, JD, you lose another option, right?
Yep.
You lose something that maybe was an option prior. It's just not, you're not fiddling around with that. But I guess what we will see probably is, if Crosby's not good to go, you see Suzuki with Stone and Marner, I would suspect. And then you have to hope that, but well, I guess not. I mean, he was out there for the tying goal with Hagel and Jarvis. So again, I think John Cooper will, I don't think we'll see 4 set lines. I don't see that. And I think you'll see people moving in and out and around the lineup a little bit as he sees who has a spark, who can give us a little pop here. And it makes it all the more interesting. Not that the tournament needed to be more interesting.
Yeah. It is a little wild to think that coming into this tournament, you looked at their first 3 lines and said, oh my God, it's going to be McDavid, it's going to be McKinnon, and it's going to be Sidney Crosby up the middle. And now it looks like there's real potential for them to be starting a semifinal game where they only have one of those centermen anchoring a line. I think that the idea that they would start McKinnon down the middle with two different wingers and keep Suzuki, who I thought looked better playing center and more comfortable than he did on the wing, that kind of gives you an option. But you're right. A lot of this feels like it's going to be tinkering in the moment and a lot of just blended lines together. And yeah, I think like there's an advantage to that because you get to play a little bit more of the hot hand. And of course, it's an advantage when you have that top line out there. But man, oh man, that does seem like a pretty difficult position for John Cooper to be in, basically deciding, all right, you, this, and you're facing two of the toughest team in the tournament.
One thing it just popped into my head, I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier, is Sam Bennett will play.
Yes.
And, was ill yesterday. So doesn't it, if Crosby can't go, doesn't it seem like Bennett would move with Marner and Stone? And that becomes your closest facsimile to what Crosby is. Well, not the same, of course, but like that gives you that sort of a line that you can identify as, yeah, I know what I'm going to get with this line.
Yeah.
And then maybe Hagel plays with Suzuki and Jarvis a little bit. And we haven't even got to Sam Reinhart yet. Sam is a really, really interesting, good player. He's versatile. And I think sometimes on a team like this, his versatility is not a strength. He gets lost a little bit. But tomorrow feels like a day where you might see more from Sam Reinhart.
God, I hope so. Because I think he kind of needs one. He's like the one guy in the forward group anyways that feels like he has been absent from a moment. Like the power play is scored and he's been out there for it. But yeah, shift to shift, I haven't exactly been thinking like, wow, Sam Reinhart's really popping in this game so far.
I got a gut on him.
Yeah.
That he's about ready to do something big.
Well, I called out Nick Suzuki and he scored this massive goal. So yeah,
because of you, right?
Yeah, and so I called out Sam Reinhart, and now you got a good gut feeling. I feel like these two things combining are going to be really good for Sam Reinhart. Like this is great for his camp.
I got to say this because it turned into a huge non-story yesterday. Was like the too many men on the ice stuff, and I think I have a theory on why. Well, I do have a theory on why it happened. Is that, well, first of all, we're watching the same broadcast.
Yep.
Nobody mentioned it, right? Mike and Kris didn't have it. None of the players were banging the boards. If you've ever been around a NHL rink, when there's too many men on the ice, it sounds like, like chaos. Guys are yelling and screaming and banging. Nobody had it. The officials didn't have it. And I believe they were on the ice for so long.
Yeah.
It just looked normal. And most too many men on the ice penalties are because it just looks wrong.
Yeah, bad change.
But even when they're out on the ice, I know I'm standing between the benches and I'll look and I'm like, I don't have that it's six guys. What I have is it just looks wrong. It doesn't look right. There's somebody's not where they're supposed to be. I can't even put a thumb on it, but it's just wrong. They came out of their zone. They had six guys. They went into the zone. They had six guys. It probably just looked normal to them. And it's the weirdest thing, but man, what a great catastrophe that would have been if that turns out to be the winning goal and they got half their team on the ice. That was pretty wild. And the fact that nobody had it.
Except for McKinnon, he claims he had it.
Well, maybe Nate's good at math.
Yeah. He claimed it. He said he noticed it, but everybody else drew down. He said stuff happens. We didn't see it. McDavid said they didn't see it. To me, I understand missing that call because everybody's human. And like you just mentioned, the best player on planet Earth, Connor McDavid, didn't notice it. So, and I didn't notice it in the moment. I don't understand why that couldn't be reviewable when it's that egregious, when we have reviews for offsides, we have reviews for high stick. Once you see six guys celebrating the goal together on the ice, doesn't it tip you off as a team to go, oh, maybe we should take a look at this. Maybe we should be able to go up to the video room and overturn this, considering we could do it for an offside. I just don't know how that one is not because I don't like video review on plays where it's not black and white, right? I just think that's why goaltender reviews are so controversial with fans, is that it's the eye of the beholder and there's all kinds of different stuff that happens on those plays. But for too many men, I'm like, yeah, they had six guys on the ice for an entire shift. Why can't you just review that?
Well, I wish I had an answer for you. It seems like one you should, and I guess what the league will tell you is that once you open that door, now you're reviewing the play at the bench where the guy steps over the puck.
Sure.
And is it too many men or not too many men? And don't forget, we got this whole offside review thing. They changed the offside rule because Matt Duchene was 30 feet offside in Denver one night.
Yep.
And the official somehow missed the call, probably because he was so far offside. He didn't notice it. And then we ended up in the quagmire that we are now. When I grew up, offside was the easiest rule to call.
Yeah.
And then now I find it to, like the puck goes in the net and, the announcer goes, the building goes off, and then you're like, oh boy, they're going to review that. I look over the bench and they're all staring down at that monitor, and you're like, here we go. Now we're going to review this.
Well,
So,
I've said it's against the spirit of the game sometimes, like where you're like,
really is.
this sucks because it's against that. And you're right about the Pandora's box.
I know you're a Blue Jays guy.
Huge.
If that play at the plate last year in the World Series was safe.
Yeah.
And they started shooting fireworks off inside the dome.
I was there.
And then, so just think if he's safe.
Yeah.
And then they go to review and he's out. And you got 100 guys running around the field sweeping up firework debris because you got to keep the game going. Like, that's where I don't love the OC, he got it right. But did he really? Did he really? What about an offside rush up the ice?
Yep.
And they blow it for offside, right? And it's a bang, bang play. And then you look at it and you go, nah, it wasn't offside. They don't get the rush back.
Yep. God,
so
it's tough.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect. And I'm glad it didn't affect the game.
Yeah. Because
the 4 teams that should be through are through.
Yep.
The Swedes are a whole other conversation. They sabotage themselves year after year. It's amazing. But the 4 teams that are through deserve to be there, and it's going to be terrific day again tomorrow.
I can't wait. I truly cannot wait. I wish it was a little later. Like for you, you're going to be waking up you're going to have to watch it at 7:40 in the morning. Gold medal game.
7:40, fine.
Yeah.
No problem. It's the
6.
gold game.
Or wait.
And so 5.
Ooh,
5. And so I was just saying to my 16-year-old yesterday, I'm like, what do you think? You getting up Sunday?
Yeah.
And he said, if Canada's in, I'll get up.
Yeah.
So if they're not, he's not watching the Finns.
No,
There's
nobody on the
chance.
West Coast is watching Finns USA at 6 a.m.
I'll see where it gets reported on later on.
Yeah, get the highlights. Hey, Ray, it was a real pleasure getting to chat with you. Thanks so much for making the time today. I really do appreciate it.
All the best, JD. Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Ray Ferraro, again, 18 seasons in the NHL, analyst for ESPN. Quick break, and I got to talk to McKee. Canada Talk continues next.
We are your home of the Toronto Raptors. Catch the action on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, streaming on the Sportsnet app, and at sportsnet.ca/590.
The courtside legend is back for a limited time. The McDonald's Raptor Chicken Nacho Poutine. Made with 100% Canadian-raised seasoned chicken, nacho cheese sauce, and tortilla strips. This one is for the fans. Order on the McKee's app. Available for a limited time.
As the auto show comes to town, so do the offers at Alta Infinity. This month only, lease the spacious 7-passenger QX60. Ample room for everything for just 5.29% for $389 bi-weekly. And receive $750 auto show bonus cash. You don't need to visit the auto show for affordable luxury. Just visit Alta Infinity Woodbridge on Highway 7 West, east of the 427.
Part of the Zankin Auto Group.
And way down we go.
Kaleo, Way Down We Go tour.
Oh, way down we go.
Saturday, August 1st, Casino Rama Resort. Celebrating the 10th anniversary of their debut album, A.B. With special guest, Vincent Lima. Tickets at Ticketmaster. For details, visit casinorama.com. Kaleo, live. Saturday, August 1st, Casino Rama Resort.
Why do they call it rush hour when no one's rushing to go anywhere?
At this rate, we'll get there tomorrow.
Oh, wait, I think we're moving. Oh, never mind.
Stop and go? Not platinum.
Getting up to $500 in value per year? Now that's platinum. Introducing Canada's first frequent fueler program, Petro-Canada's Platinum Status. Just fuel 1,000 liters in 3 months to qualify for exclusive monthly offers, 50% more Petro points, partner bonuses, and more. That's up to $500 in value back per year. Visit petro-canada.ca/platinum status. Terms and conditions apply.
The legendary Yeti thrives in cold environments.
Just like my Subaru, all-wheel drive is like having an extra pair of Yeti legs.
The Yeti's natural habitat is in colder climates, but it's been spotted all over Canada.
Just like Subaru, we go everywhere, enjoying winter with the little ones. They grow up so fast. Legendary winters await, so hurry into your local Subaru dealer for lease and finance rates as low as 0.5%. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Subaru, uncommon comes standard.
Hey parents, it's Ontario teachers. We need to talk about some concerning behavior. Disruptions in class, bad choices, even bullying. No, it's not your kid. It's Doug Ford. By cutting $3,000 per student in education funding, he's created big problems in schools, taking away the supports that students need and leaving them stuck in overcrowded classes. The problem in schools? It's Doug Ford. A message from the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario.
Okay, category is ways Desjardins Insurance goes the extra mile to make insurance easy. First question, what are some of the things you can easily do online or in the app?
Oh, view your policy.
Add a new driver.
Oh, update your address when you move.
Easy. You guys are good.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
Love is messy, and honestly, that's kind of the point. At Mucho Burrito, we don't take shortcuts, because that's not how you show love. We make our food in-house and use cheese that's actually cheese. 100% real Canadian Monterey Jack. No blends, no palm oil. We finish our fries with lime and ancho. Salt alone felt unloving, because when you choose love, you don't hold back. Celebrate love all month long with a chance to win free burritos for a year. Visit lovemucho.ca.
Love Mucho!
Dial in your game this winter with Golftown's state-of-the-art simulator bays. Powered by industry-leading Foresight sports technology. Enjoy tour-level precision the pros trust. Or play a virtual round on a world-famous golf course for just $24.99 for a 55-minute session at any Golftown location. Renting their simulators can help take your game to the next level, whether you're a beginner or seasoned golfer. Book your tee time in-store or online at golftown.com. Come in and play at Golftown this winter.
Hey, Ray Ferraro here. If pain is stopping you from moving, footwear and orthotics are really the simplest way to get you back on track. And Kintec does it better than anybody else. I've no question that Kintec has helped me stay active, taking away any barrier to movement that I might have. It's made such a positive impact in my life, I brought my whole family to Kintec. Book your assessment today at kintec.net.
Feeling your best shouldn't come with long wait times. With over 10 Toronto area locations, Game Day Men's Health helps men boost energy and enhance performance with testosterone optimization, peptide therapy, medical weight loss, and more. Because every day is game day. Book your free consult at GameDayMen'sHealth.ca.
The RBC Black Diamond Ball returns live at the iconic Liberty Grand, Saturday, February 28th at 6:30 p.m., where legacy shines and excellence reigns. Watch it on City TV, March 8th at 5 p.m. Hosted by Juno award-winning artist Sean Jones and featuring performances by Ballet Creole, the vocalist winner Dante Brown, and headliner R&B sensation Jordan. Details and tickets at blackdiamondballto.com. Supported by Roger Sports and Media and Portland Investment Council Inc.
Bet365 is paying out before the final whistle.
Check out Bet365's early payout for football. When you bet on a team to win and they take a 17-point lead, you get paid no matter the final score. And with an early payout, you could be on your way to a winning parlay.
Early payout. Just another reason why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca. T&Cs apply.
Feeling your best shouldn't come with long wait times. With over 10 Toronto area locations, Game Day Men's Health helps men boost energy and enhance performance with testosterone optimization, peptide therapy, medical weight loss, and more. Because every day is game day. Book your free consult at GameDayMen'sHealth.ca.
Witness the magic of one of the most iconic couples in history. An all-new episode of Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, tonight at 9 on FX or stream it on City TV+.
Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
All right, Canada Talk continues. McKee got bumped for Ferraro. No shame in that, but he joins us now. Sam McKee of Leafs Talk.
What's up, bro? I've been bumping people my whole life.
Yeah.
It's the last thing I could ever get mad about.
Wow.
It's tough business, you know, but when it's Ray Ferraro, you got to eat it.
You got to eat it. Listen,
How was he?
Amazing. Like,
yeah, I don't even want to do this. Who you had Versteeg and Ferraro? It's like, here comes the two good guys, and then the Dolt.
No.
It's Dolt time.
Buddy, it's time for Dolt time. Dolt time is perfect. Speaking of Dolt time, I actually was thinking this morning when I was coming in. Actually, I was thinking last night because my mom called me and she was mentioning her viewing experience for the game. And I was thinking back on mine and how, like, poor Brando had to watch you and I just be full psychos in the boardroom, screaming about everything that was happening, talking the entire time about how we're dead.
Brando's got ice in his veins, though.
Yeah, he does. Brando, that's
he
him,
was just like didn't say a word. Just was like typing on his computer. Wasn't like raising the voice. Like if I got a guy, if I need brain surgery, I don't know who I'm calling. Brando,
Dude.
Ice cold,
level hand.
He
is just
like,
he would have been back in like the old West. He would have murdered so many boys. He would have been the quickest gun in the West. Just ice water veins. Wouldn't have thought twice about it. But yeah, you and I, we actually watched the game winning goal together. We didn't watch the game tying goal together because we both went our separate ways down 3-2. I went and watched by myself in the cafeteria with my jacket on and headphones because I just couldn't do it. And you watched it on a different TV than we were watching on. So congrats to us who played some small part in this by changing up the juju, yeah?
Listen, it
was
unhealthy. It was a very obvious TV change moment.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't know how to quantify what a TV change moment is. And if somebody watching this or listening to this who was a superstitious sports freak like me and you are, they completely understand what a change the juju moment was. And when Andre Palat shoots that puck in the net, that's a very obvious stand up, storm out, and go somewhere else to watch the finish of the game moment. And it turns out that it was a good thing to do because Nick Suzuki, our boy, ends up
who we
taking
always
one home.
believed in.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time with the Suzuki thing because, like, in the context of Team Canada, right?
Yeah.
You know, he feels that he's felt out of place at times, and I've called for him to come into the lineup, and it breaks my heart because he is my son. He is a guy that played on the own side attack. He's my favorite own side attack player of all time. One of the best to ever wear the attack jersey. And just having him be there and having me being like, I have to make the call. I feel like the guy in Gladiator putting the thumbs down. Like I feel very guilty about it. And then to have him score that goal and then like get so many DMs, meanies being like, you idiot, good thing you're not running the team. I'm like, I love Nick Suzuki. I just think in the context of Team Canada, maybe he's a little bit out of place. Oh, it's been tough. Been a tough 24 hours for my Nick Suzuki relationship.
For me, it's different because I don't have the emotional attachment to Nick Suzuki. But like I tweeted about it, and Habs fans dunked on me as they should for the last 18 hours. Yeah. But here's the thing, man. I'm all about that. Like I think that's actually one of the fun things about sports. We get things wrong all the time. Like to me, in the moment, I think I was right. Nick Suzuki was not playing great. He did look out of place on the wing. I don't think he had a lot of impact with the team. And guess what? He has one of the shifts of the tournament where it's like he has that forecheck, he gets the puck back, he gets out in front of the net, he tips it in. All the credit to him. I'm all for every single Hab fan or every person that disagreed with my opinion to be like, you're an idiot. That's the way that it's supposed to be. You're watching with friends, you're at the bar, and you say something, and then it comes. Like, how many times have you watched a game? Like, I can think of, like, my friend Dunjak, where it's like, he loves to bitch during games. And he'll be like, this guy stinks. He sucks. What has he done? What's he done? And then that guy will score a goal, and then you're like, you gave up on him, and then you move on. Like, that's just a part of it. I think it's fun. Yeah. I think it's good. You're supposed to be wrong about sports. One of the worst things about Twitter, social media thing is, like, people will dig up tweets, like, about any context of how someone felt about a player, like, years ago. You're like, yeah, that was valid in that moment. And I'm not even saying that my Suzuki take was valid. Like, yeah, it just turns out to be a bad take. If he's not in that game, maybe they lose. But getting made fun of is supposed to just be fine. Like, you're supposed to be able to handle that as a sports fan, because the idea that someone is out there and they would get all the takes right, like that they would be watching sports and be undefeated when it comes to getting it. That's why I hate the chart boys. Because they're like, no, the charts, just the charts say it's like, yeah,
the chart, chalk up a chart win with the Suzuki stuff.
Yeah,
I will say those.
Guess what? The chart guys are like, hey, the good players are good. So whenever they're good, they're like, yeah, see, we said they were good. And whenever they're bad, they're like, don't worry, the charts will say eventually. It's like, yeah, it's the worst game to play. I don't care for the chart stuff. I love it for Suzuki. I love getting beat down by every single person who called me an idiot. They deserve it. I love that you as a Habs fan got to watch your guy score a huge goal and then got the added bonus of dunking on Leafs. And that brings me to the Marner part. Like, so Marner scores and you and I are celebrating. We're losing our minds. We're like, Mitchie, like, who cares, right? Like, not one even molecule of me was like, oh, I wish it wasn't him that scored. It's like they scored in that moment. I'm like, yes, thrilled. If I could have designed it, I wouldn't have chosen Mitch. Like, if I got to pick the game, I would have been like, yeah, it's going to be somebody else. But I saw you and Borny doing this thing yesterday where you were like, oh, and everybody makes it about the Leafs. And everybody's like, and Born was like, this is crazy. There's people making it about the Leafs. Yeah, of course this one's about the Leafs. Like, sometimes there's stuff that I agree is just, why is this out there? Marner had a huge, horrible breakup with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They gave up on him. Well, they wanted the breakup. A lot of people wanted the breakup, in large part because he couldn't come through in big games. I got more thoughts on that after this, but like, yeah, he scores a goal and Leaf fans get dunked on. Like, that's the way this goes. It's your former player and he scores a big goal. People are going to talk some trash. Like, eat it. You got to eat it.
Of course. Like, I sent out a tweet being like, you just have to take a big fat L if you're a Canadian Marner hater. It's just the way it is. But I will say that it's one thing from fans, but I think the other side of it is seeing sports media people in other markets being like, why do all they ever talk about is the Leafs? And then the first opportunity they
Thomas
get every single time. Oh, no, I mean, it wasn't just him doing it. But
I know, but I'm just saying, I saw that one and I was like, this is a weirdo move, but whatever. Anyway,
It just, I get the fan stuff. And listen, I thought yesterday was one of the most, my DMs was one of the most fascinating dichotomy of people that I got ever.
Oh,
when he scored that goal. Like, it was, my phone's never blown up like it's blown up like that. That was crazy. But I expect it from fans. Like, people are being like, this is your fault. You're an idiot. You drove him out of town. Yeah, duh. Like, of course your people are going to have that take. That's a fine take to have. But other media members being like, God, why is it always about Toronto? Everything Toronto. Leafsnet. Why do we have to change the time of games for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah.
And then, like, one of the greatest hockey games and best on best that I can remember where there's real adversity.
Yeah.
And Mitch Marner happens to score the goal. And every single person from media, they're like, the Leafs. It's like, you're the one who brought it up.
I know.
It wasn't us.
That's fair.
We were fired up, jumping up and down with the Vang in a circle with the whole newsroom going crazy in downtown Toronto. No one was like, oh, God, I wish it wasn't him.
Yeah.
No one.
No. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. Now this brings me to the Marner referendum thing that's happening. Like, because you're right.
It's a referendum.
Yeah, but okay. There's all kinds of people coming out being like, see, Toronto. It's Toronto that gave up on him. And it's like, he could have done
Mark
it.
Stone said it.
Yeah. Here's what I would like to say to Mark Stone and to everybody else. Congrats to Mitch. He gave me a great memory. I'll carry it for a very long time, much like at the Four Nations he set up Sid. Marner, the math equation on letting him go from the Toronto Maple Leafs was, are you one of the franchise guys? Are you one of the three most important players on the team? Are you a pillar of the organization? And I thought that over the course of his career here, it kind of got proven that while a very good player, that when it came to those big moments, if he has to be the guy, that he wasn't going to be the guy on a team where he was one of three. On Team Canada, where Mitch Marner gets to be the 9th or 10th most important player on the team, and he gets an opportunity on 3-on-3 to dazzle with his skill and put it in the back of the net. I never had doubts about that. That wasn't the question. People weren't going like, should Mitch Marner be on Team Canada? Was there one Leaf fan that was like, does this guy deserve to be, is he a bubble player? Like, no. Everybody knew he was supposed to be on the team. So, like, these are completely different things when talking about, like, what Mitch Marner could have been here versus what he could be for Team Canada and trying to make the false equivalency.
Even for Vegas.
Yeah.
And even for Vegas.
Of course.
Like, we watched those two games right before the break, I guess, within the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I think one of the things I made coming out of that game out of those games is like how little importance not little importance, that's the wrong word, but like in terms of importance on that team in pecking order, how much you didn't feel him compared to when he played for the Leafs. Or the Leafs, he's out there in every single situation. Yep. So you're right. I think there's a world where they win in Vegas with him, obviously, because they have Mark Stone, they have Jack Eichel, they have Hurdle, they have all these guys that can kind of, be the dogs so that he doesn't necessarily have to be. But there's no referendum for me.
No.
The Leafs were never going to win with this core with him.
No.
And does this year suck? Yep. Yes, it does. And all the same people that are making fun of Leaf fans for letting him go and driving him out of town
would have been the same ones making fun of him if they signed him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the exact same ones who've been making fun of the Leafs failing and making fun of Mitch Marner not scoring in games 5 through 7 ever in his Leafs career. Yeah. So people are talking out of both sides of their mouth. It sucks. We got to eat it right now. But the Toronto Maple Leafs were never going to win the Stanley Cup with Mitch Marner as part of this team. It's just the way it is. It's just, I'm at peace.
Same. Here's how I feel today. Not one little bit different about the state of the Leafs. Just purely joyful that Canada is advancing in this tournament and that we get to watch a game Friday.
Can you imagine this group of players that like we've assembled with the top end guys? And I understand that it felt like the Oilers at times yesterday where it's just like David and nobody else. Yeah. But like this group of players, this hyped up to go out in the quarters. Like I was having feelings of, was it 2006 that they lost to Russia in the quarters?
Yeah.
Turin, right?
But that team was like, so many guys weren't there. They were hurt. It was a bad team. This team was
Ryan McKee, who was, I'm not going to
should have been on the team earlier.
I know, but like
he got a big part of it. Regier got picked ahead of him, and every Leaf fan was like, "Are you out of your minds?" He was leading the league in power play goals.
That was a referendum in Toronto.
Yeah, that was tough.
God, they could use Brian McCabe on the power play now.
Yes, they could.
God, they could use that ball.
Although here's my guess: he's not replacing Cale Makar.
No, I meant Toronto.
Oh, Toronto. I was like,
no, like over Cale Makar. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
No, that'd be the worst take ever.
Yeah. No, I'm really thrilled that they won this game. I'm really pumped for the Finns. Last thing on the Leafs, because this is Canada talk, it's Leafs talk. We're mixing in the other things, but I didn't see this, so I'm speaking out of not even looking at it. But multiple people told me that the Maple Leafs tweeted out like a magic wand when Mitch Marner scored.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Buddy, it's some Gen Z guy running.
I know, but don't do that. Don't do that.
If man, the amount of things in my life, if I'm going to get offended by that.
Yeah, but I just don't listen. The Maple
They gave him a
Leafs
tribute video. People gave him a standing ovation.
Yes, but it's
still
just
like him.
he's not on the team anymore. And the idea that it's like he's still, because if they're doing it for every player when they score a goal for Canada, fine. But the idea that it's like this is still their guy, I don't like that. I think that stinks. That doesn't smell. That doesn't pass the smell test for me. Just park it.
You cannot possibly draw a reaction to me on that one. I could not care less.
All right.
I could not care less. I see a hell of a lot worse than that on Twitter every day, buddy. Don't believe me.
All right. Is there anything you want to do on this game? Because I got one thing on the Swedes and the Americans.
Just on the game from yesterday?
Yeah. Is there anything that you really want to kind of get off your chest or that you want to discuss with me?
Well, I talked about it a little bit with Kipper and Bordy yesterday, but bring it up again here. The difference in how I feel about Jordan Binnington from the first period to the third period, it's like two different goalies.
Yeah.
The most I worry about him is in the first couple of shots. You're just kind of like, oh boy, you're thinking about the 860. Yeah. And then when it gets to be, on the table time, I just believe he's making every save.
Yeah.
So
same.
It's it feels like two different goalies. I saw somebody tweet, I wish I could give them credit, that Jordan Binnington is the Dominic Hasek of Mike Smith's, and I just thought that was the most perfect tweet of all time.
Yeah, I said to Versteeg today that it's especially impressive considering every person on earth is ready to blame him if they lose and he lets in a stinky goal.
Yeah.
Like he's carrying.
He hasn't let in a stinky goal.
No, but he's carrying.
I guess the one against France, the clapper. That's
sure, but it's just what was the score at that point? It was like 6-1, 7.
I think it was 7 or 8-1.
Yeah, so pretty low leverage, fine. But he, unlike any other player on this team, is bearing the weight of expectation and the potential outcome with failure. McDavid has a bad game and we lose. people are still going to defend McDavid to the hilt. Like, what are you supposed to say? Like, oh, he's not the best player in the league? Like, come on, get out of here with this.
He's getting on 50% of our goals
this
tournament.
It's just he's the guy. Like, he's the guy. There's no criticism of any. What, you're going to blame Brad Marchand? Be like, oh, is they lost because they have Marchand? Like, no.
I blame Marner.
Sure. I'm just saying, that there's one guy on the team that is going to eat it like no one else, and that's Jordan Binnington. And yet he still is coming up in these huge moments and making massive saves. It's like, it's truly, truly incredible stuff. Okay. My last thing is not a Canada talk thing. So the Americans win. I found myself very torn watching the game because I'm so used to rooting for Sweden. And I did want Sweden to win, and they're like showing Matt Sundin celebrate the game-tying goal. And I'm like, yeah, go Sweden. But I want the Americans. Like, I do. I know it's risky, and I know it's like a foolish thing to say if you end up losing. But I think Canada needs to stamp out the United States in a gold medal game and prove something greater. That it's like, hey, as great of a team that you put together, USA, have your conversations about how you didn't bring Jason Robertson and Cole Caulfield. It's still Canada's sport. It just will mean so much more if they beat the Americans. So when Quinn Hughes scores that goal, I wasn't like my normal self would have been, which is, damn it, really pissed off that they ended up winning that game. I was like, I'm fine with this. Good. I hope that this ends up being the matchup. That said, there's been all these combos about Matthews, right? Like tons.
Yeah.
William Nylander scored 2 goals in this tournament. One was the 5th goal against Latvia, and another one was, the last goal against Latvia, and then in a 5-1 game, and the other one
first game,
and the other one was against Italy, and he's the guy for his team. And all this Matthews talk obviously is obvious because it's the USA. But why do you think there's been like no? I haven't heard a peep about Nylander. I don't even really have a take on it, but it's like, why do you think it is that him as a guy in this tournament is the one dude for the Maple Leafs that's like completely void of conversation?
It's a good question. I think he's kind of, I don't know. I think people just know what he is.
Yeah, like there's nothing, there's no debate, right? Like it's just like
there's no debate.
Yeah,
there's no really hot debate about him. It's like, yeah, he's Sweden's best player. You're probably not going to win much, right? Like I think that's just kind of accepted, and it came to fruition there. Although in overtime yesterday, he had that one play where he kind of dropped the shoulder and I was like, oh, I'm not sure who it was because we were on the air, but he kind of snuffed him out. But like he almost got it to the backhand, and I thought for sure that he was going to score. I thought for sure that William was going to score in overtime yesterday and send them to the semis to play Canada. But yeah, I didn't watch that game too close because we were on air yesterday. I mean, I had my eyes on it the entire time, but it's a different experience when you're trying to like keep up conversation and not do play-by-play while there's a hockey game going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a mid-off between those two guys. Like neither of them looked like Matthews and Nylander didn't look like either of them had much of an effect in the game. But it was a low-scoring slog.
Yeah.
Like that's what sucks so much. And I know we probably got to go here, but that's what sucks so much about the Canada-USA potential is that it's probably going to go to 3-on-3 overtime, which is a joke, right? Like, what are the chances of the score not being 2-1 or 3-2? Like that, exact score bets, they actually might be minus money on those ones. And it's going to be close. And there's these teams always go to overtime in big games. And we're going to have to go to 3-on-3 overtime. And I understand that we have a distinct advantage. You can throw out McKinnon, McDavid, and McCarr as your 3 guys, and Celebrini and Marner and all these guys who are so good on 3-on-3. It's just so against the spirit of the game, man.
I know.
It's just, it's sickening. Can we not get together before this happens and be like, we got to stop this from happening? Like, let's everybody as a hockey brethren and get together and just say no.
The thing for me that I don't understand is like, okay, so if you wanted to make a format that was, hey, we don't want to have it be too impactful on the players. If it's already going to be 10 minutes 3-on-3, who would have said no to 10 minutes 5-on-5?
Yeah.
And then
just
penalties.
20 minutes of 5-on-5, then a penalty shot.
Yeah, but then if you get to the gold medal game, which one of the players would have said, no, I'm against having it just be continuous 5-on-5. Like, we're going to keep playing this thing like,
even if it goes to 3 OT, even if it goes to 3 OTs,
Fine.
The star players are playing what?
Who
15
cares?
Extra minutes?
Who
it's
cares?
Insane.
Who cares?
Insane.
Yeah, totally nuts. Totally nuts. Anyway, God, we're waiting on the Sid injury status, and
it feels like he's not going to play.
I know, but I want it so bad that it's like day to day, and they could just buy him.
You got fear of the Finns? You got fear of the Finns? I fear the Finns.
I fear the Finns. What am I,
Gritty.
insane? Of course I fear the Finns.
Fear the Finns.
They play hard. And I watched I watched most of that game. I missed the beginning of it. But, yeah, the way they played in that third period, I was like, oof, this is a tough team. Anyway, we got to go. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave 5 stars. Reach out anytime, Twitter and Instagram, @JDBunkis. I'll see you tomorrow.
The Courtside Legend is back for a limited time. The McDonald's Raptor Chicken Nacho Poutine. Made with 100% Canadian-raised seasoned chicken, nacho cheese sauce, and tortilla strips. This one is for the fans. Order on the McKee's app. Available for a limited time.
Relive the revolutionary music of the Fab Four at the Music of the Beatles with your Toronto